Yeah, the call of wild's always bringing me home. Call of wild's always bringing me home. Call of wild's always bringing me home.
Hello, Wild One. Welcome to another episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I am so excited to have my good friend Agne of the Wild Medeina. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I hope you too.
Yeah, I am so happy that you're here with me today, and I'm so glad that we connected through the Instagram realm. And I think it was because I saw one of your really awesome kind of like meme things that you posted. So I'm very happy that you're here today.
Yeah, really thank you for having me. It's my first ever podcast, so thank you so much for believing in me. I'm really happy and grateful for that.
Oh, of course. I'm so excited and I'm so honored that I am your first podcast, and I can't wait to highlight your story a little bit more. So for people listening that don't know you yet, maybe just describe a little bit more of like the background of what you do with the Wild Medeina, and maybe like what where the story of the name comes from.
Okay, so you'll have to like remind me of all the questions. So basically what I
You got
do
it.
is I empower women. So I really want to inspire every woman I meet because I feel like we are here to do so much more than we're told. And I feel like we're put in a box. Like usually I feel like if you talk with like 100 women, I feel like 99 of them will say, actually, yeah, I've been labeled this, and the other. And I really want to like smash those boxes. I want to just see how women can blossom and how can they find their wild and yeah, just be like themselves, just find the true calling. So that's kind of what I do in a very short way.
Yeah. And where did you pick the name The Wild Medeina? Like where does that come from? Because I really love that too.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, so when I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life and like change my life completely, I found a woman that she was doing human design coaching, like trying to basically, find your life purpose. And I signed up with her, and like she opened, like my life changed when I signed up to be with her. And she knew that I wanted to do something with coaching. And I was like, I don't know, I don't even know the name and everything. And she was like, well, you're Lithuanian, so why don't you celebrate that? Like, can you find something Lithuanian and mix it with English? I was like, oh, well, that's a good idea. And I just kind of like started brainstorming of like, like I wanted something to be easy to pronounce, easy to remember, and all of that. And I was kind of going through the name of the goddesses in Lithuanian mythology, and I thought Medeina. It's that. I just saw it, and I was like, that's the one. And so that's kind of I just added the wild to it because I want to emphasize being the wild woman, being the untamed one, like the mystical one. So that's how the Wild Medeina was born. And I'm guessing you want to also ask what's Medeina, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love to go into that a little bit more because that's I love that. That intrigued me. Anything wild goddess, I need to know more about.
Yeah, good. So Medeina is a Lithuanian goddess of the forest. So basically she protects the wild animals in there and like the nature. And basically there's not a lot of known about her. Like the more I went into it to find out like what exactly she stands for, there's quite mixed messages. So one literature I found, it was saying that the hunters are afraid of Medeina because she's like she's hoarding all of the animals to like protect them from hunters. And in another literature I found, it was saying that the hunters actually honor Medeina and they want to, respect her and send her good wishes so that like Medeina will actually protect the hunters. So I feel like the more different literature you will read, the more you will find what Medeina is. But what I'm saying to the world, what Medeina stands for me, is that she's a wild woman. She's untamed. Like she doesn't have any boxes to fit in. She kind of morphs from one animal to another. She just radiates that untamed essence, and she reminds everyone that we need to love our nature, we need to live in harmony with all of it. And she's also depicted a lot of the times with either deers, wolves, or has, whichever literature you read. So I just feel like that screams me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And I had not heard of, and I love mythology in general and obviously looking up different goddesses, but when I found your page, I had never heard of her before. So it was so cool to be able to learn a little bit more about her from you, like from your page, and from hearing that right now is so cool. It's very similar to the goddess Artemis, but in different aspects. Like I had my friend Dr. Carla on, and she's an expert in the goddess Artemis. So it's funny, but I can see how, and that's one of the things that I love most about mythology is like these similarities in different cultures and things that you see pop up in different sections of the world is amazing. It's really fascinating, and I really love that we see the similarities there.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like it's really also I feel like not a lot of people know about Lithuania or like history of Lithuania. So I feel like it's a really nice way for me to just remind them that like we exist as a culture and just kind of I don't know. I feel like it's a really nice touch because obviously I'm talking about everything in English, so so that I could reach more women and more people. But yeah, I feel like that having that Medeina to it, it just gives that mystical vibes and just kind of. And then I feel like also it's a point for conversation because people ask like, oh, so what does the name mean? And then I can go into it, and then quite a lot of people are actually interested in mythology, so that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that. And I love that you're tying in like your culture and, bringing that to people, because I feel like the more that we like tie ourselves into our roots and know who we are, and I feel like that's totally your whole brand too, is trying to know every bit about yourself so you can feel as free as possible, which is amazing, and it's like such a beautiful gift to try to put out into the world too. But the more that we learn about ourselves and our roots and our culture, and we bring that out to other people, I think that the more that bridges that connection, and we can see those similarities, like I was just saying with like Artemis in Greece, and like there's just so many connections and ways that we can relate to each other while bringing our own sense of self and culture with that.
Yeah, our own like spice to it and flavor and everything. Because like when you will now tell someone else about Medina, you will like add your little bit of flavor to it. And I feel like it's just really good way of like, talking about it and just saying because I feel like there's a huge overlap in terms of kind of which like from which country you're from and what goddesses you have. They feel like they're all similar. They obviously all have their own unique points, but they all like have the similar flavor to it. So I love that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why it's important to like, and I love going deeper into like archetypes and or archetypes or however
Yeah. Whichever.
however you say that. Yeah, either or.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's like also really cool because I think that like showcases like that there is that in different cultures, like you can see those different archetypes in different cultures, and how we can embrace that ourselves. I know that you do a lot of that work with your brand too.
Yeah, just kind of like finding your true self and your true calling. I feel like that's the main reason why I want to do what I do. And I hope to, reach more souls and reach more people and just yeah, like I feel like the world would be a much different place if each and one of us would find their own wild and they will just find what they're good at and what, all of that stuff. Like we can go on how the world would be different on a different podcast, but
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that the key to a lot of healing for people, which is why I really love what you're doing, is to find themselves and to go into, and I think that like, like I always think about what I'm, before I get on a podcast, and I like today, like kind of like whatever was channeling to me or like sitting
yeah,
with me today was that, I love this focus now, and I know that like you focus on this as well, but like the balance between light and dark, and how like dark stuff is typically seen as like very heavy, and you know, we have to have a balance of it in some way. But you know, also that trauma is heavy, and the more that we dive into the darkest, or you know, things that we kind of try to shut out because maybe we're scared of the monster inside of us or something like that, it just goes to show that we're trying to hide parts of ourselves. So the more that we can like peek around the corner and try to dive deeper into ourselves, even the darkest parts start to feel light, you know, and we
Exactly.
can live in a space where there's both aspects of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, my first ebook that I like launched for Medina was about wild shadows, like how to kind of sit with your
Mm.
shadows and like befriend them, because I love journaling and I feel like when we give ourselves space and permission to go deep and see what the shadows actually want to tell you, like it's a whole Pandora's chest of what can actually open up. And I'm a big believer in that. So yeah, I totally agree. Like I feel like shadow work is a
Yeah.
big work for Medina. It's like you need to find your dark side, but like befriend it, because it's a good thing. Like you can be dark and light and mysterious, and like that's the balance of being a woman, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Um, I'd love to maybe just circle back to, for people listening, and get to know a little bit more about like your story and like how you found yourself in wanting to empower women and coming up and having this business. I know you were in, um, you know, you were in academia for a little while too. So maybe to tell us a little bit more about your story.
So it's quite difficult to try to tell a story, like my life story, in like 10-minute segment, but I'll try my best. So basically,
Yeah,
well,
and
first
you
of
don't
all,
have to go too deep, but yeah.
yeah, I know, but it's just like, how, yeah, it's just a lot. So basically, long story short, is that I always felt like I was different, and I always felt like the odd one out. I always felt like I don't fit in with society. I always felt like I'm just a weird one. And like it didn't bother me, but I did feel like, well, like how come everyone is like aligning with society and I just feel like I want to like live in the cave. So basically, so that was one part of the story. And then another part of the story, I always knew that I wanted to teach, like always. Like I used to teach my grandparents, like I had like a board and everything. I was like teaching everything. I was like, I want to be
Aw.
a teacher. I want to be a teacher. And then so I started working in academia and I was like, yes, like I want to be a lecturer. I studied endangered species, by the way. So very, very goes really well with your
Hmm.
brand and what you stand for. And I was like, yep, I'm just going to
Yeah.
be a lecturer for that. It's just going to be like, yes, yes, yes. And then kind of everything went downhill because even though on paper my life was good, like I had a good job, I had a good partner at that time, like, I had some hobbies, I had friends, I feel like everything was all right. But I don't know, I was just feeling more and more sad, more and more depressed, and nothing was bringing joy. And the only thing that was bringing joy to me in my life at that time was, so I was working in academia and I was working with students, and I would like teach them what to do in a lab setting and all that stuff. Like I was teaching them sciencey bit. And what was lighting me up so much is not actually teaching the sciencey bits, but like showing them that they can have confidence, that they can actually listen to themselves and that they actually know the answers. Like, just igniting that confidence in themselves. And because I used to have students for like 3 to 6 months, I could see how they change. I could see how, like, when they came, they were like, oh, like shy and like closed and unsure of themselves. And then when they leave, like 3 to 6 months later, they're like, oh my God, like I know what I want. I'm so excited. Oh, like, I know this, I know. And it was like coming from within. And honestly, like I'm talking now, like I have goosebumps. It made me so happy. Like it was the best, like the best. And so everything was kind of like going well. And so I was getting a lot of support to get some certifications to become a lecturer. And I was like, yeah, like I know where my life is going. And then weirdly enough, like something in me was like pressing stop. Like I could feel my body just like going against it. And I wasn't fully sure what was that. Like I wasn't into like spirituality and all that stuff like back then. So I was like, I don't understand. Like I want this. Like I can feel my whole body just like saying, like the whole body was like like shivering and shaking. And I couldn't understand that. And then basically fast forward, the job got more toxic, like the environment and just people there. Everything was just going kind of down. And I just felt more like I didn't feel understood and I didn't feel valued enough. I felt like I'm trying to work so hard, but I'm not getting any recognition. And I was like working, like I was like replying to emails at night because I wanted to support the students. And I was like pouring my heart and my soul into the job and nothing was working. And I realized like I was just becoming more and more dry. And I realized that like something has to change, but I didn't understand what. And then my mom actually showed me something about divine femininity. I can't remember now exactly what, but she was like, "Do you want to listen to this?" I think it was a seminar. And you know how they say in movies and books, my life changed. And
Yes.
I was like, right, this is what I have to do. And I need to change my life completely, like a whole complete change of life to embody that. And then I was like, right, okay, well, how do I do that? So I realized that my like then partnership wasn't fulfilling me. So I initiated the split, which like we've been in a relationship for 8 years, I think. So it was difficult because, you know, it was my first long-term partnership, but I realized it wasn't serving the wild me. And then actually last August, I left my work with only an idea of the Wild Medeina. So it was quite bold movement. Not everyone in my close circle understood me, but I had the belief. And so that's kind of why I'm now. I just thought, right, I'm doing it. And I was really scared. But I was just like, well, I was like, either I stay dry and depressed or I try to change something. And I was like, I felt the calling in me that I just had to be here for something more, like something meaningful, like meaningful connections, like meaningful encounters. And yeah, so kind of very long story short, I just kind of established Medeina and I'm just been connecting with women and empowering them and just, yeah, that's kind of that.
I absolutely love that, and I'm so happy that you shared that with me and with people listening. And I think that that's so important, and what a beautiful thing to want to heal yourself, and while healing yourself, you're trying to heal and bring up others around you, you know. And I think that it's such a cool, I mean, I'm sure, you know, I say this all the time, is like there's pros and cons to living in the right now, right? But there's such a pro in the sense that like you can really do something that's so unique to you. You can create like your own space, and channeling something that's so deep inside of you, and listening to what's calling you from your soul and following that. Not everybody, you know, ignoring that is not good. Sorry, hold on.
No.
Georgie, come over here.
You just know.
Come here. I really love your story, and I love that you want to empower women. I feel like we have the, obviously it's not the same story, but the root of the story is the same, of like why I wanted to start this as well. And you know, partially for my son, but also because like I was a mom, and that it's so funny when that internal sorry, that
That's
internal
fine.
craving of like needing, wanting this external something that you're creating that you don't know yet is,
Yeah.
you know, coming from inside of you, and like this like push to need to get it out into the world is so empowering. And it's like when you find that, there's nothing else like it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you felt the call and you went with it. Like even your clothing brand as well. I feel like you had the calling and you were like, right, I'm doing it. I'm being the wild woman. So yeah.
Yeah, we're so similar in that sense, you know, and even our names, right? Like you're bringing Medeina into it, and I chose like the French version, ShopFemmeSauvage, which means wild woman in French. So all of these things are so connecting, you know, and I really love that we found each other in this space and connected in that way.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I can advertise your sweater now as well for people that are watching on YouTube.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so glad that you love it. And then I'm wearing the hooded one of like that style, but thank you so much for supporting me too and wearing it. And I'm also just so glad that you love it in general. So
Yeah, I'm very
yeah.
sad when it goes into
Thank
the
you.
wash and I have to wait for it to dry. I'm like, no.
I know that's always the hardest part, right?
Yeah,
Um and I love that you love it so much and it looks amazing on you.
yeah,
Um hold on, let me try to anyway, so speaking of the wild woman and how both of our brands connect with that aspect, what would you say like the wild woman is to you? I know that's probably like a big loaded question, but because she's like
yeah.
so full and encompassing, but
Yeah, I feel like everything we talk about is not like a yes or no question, is it? Um,
no, it's
well,
much
for
more
me, one,
complex than that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So for me, Wild Woman, I mean, like in the name, like she's wild, but she's very like multifaceted. Like she's very complicated, but like she's not like I wouldn't say. You got me thinking now. I feel like the woman that is very complex and she's very multifaceted and she doesn't actually fit into a box, like she crushed the box. And she is soft and but she can
Yeah.
be like a warrior woman, but she can be like very like nurturing and safe and like a calming environment, but she could also be like, you know, a goddess, like a seductive goddess, or like she could be like a really caring mom like you are. I feel like the ability for the woman
Thank
to
you.
be anything she wants unapologetically, I feel like that's what makes her the wild woman.
Yeah, I have to agree. She's like the ultimate like dynamic archetype because like she really fits into so many different boxes. And I tried to cover this on my very first episode with Maria Souza, which I love her too, and
Yeah, she's
she's Women in
incredible.
Mythology on Instagram. Yeah, she comes up with some amazing stuff. I did the Wolves Tribe program with her too, but you know, talking with her about it, like she definitely looks at it from a much more scholarly, archetypal
Yeah.
lens, right? Like so but I think that we look at it and then like I think that there is like this section also of like spirituality where people look at the wild woman of like as embracing our true selves. Like that's like also what the wild woman I feel like is to me at least too is being able to fully embrace and find all of the deepest parts of ourselves and being able to stick up for ourselves, having a voice, not being afraid to use it. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think that she's something that I'm constantly aspiring to make sure I am and to be and to not be in a place where it's like a people pleaser or you know I don't know, like just being I love the way that like you describe it on your Instagram, like like and you have these different courses, which I want to ask you about too, is like, you know, fawning or people pleasing, you
Yeah.
know, all of these things that women are boxed into and the wild woman kind of breaks that open.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I mean, that's why like we're so aligned. I feel like the
Yeah.
women suffer from good girl conditioning so much, and like I was one, and oh my God, never again. And I feel so liber. I mean, I'm still obviously going. Like we never actually get to the healing phase. Like we're not actually. Sorry, we don't actually get to the end of the healing phase, are we? Like we're always constantly changing, and I feel like
Yeah.
if we're like starting to break out of the good girl condition, like we don't care what people say, like we feel like our worth is from within, not from others are saying, or like, you know, we shouldn't achieve this, achieve that, and then I will feel like a woman. Like, no, like you are a woman from within. So I really want to, like, one of the biggest things, one of the biggest pillars for Medeina is like I want women to actually break from those chains. I want them to understand that you don't have to achieve like 5 medals or 5 diplomas and then you will feel a woman. Like, it's not about that. Like, or like stop people pleasing. Like, it doesn't matter what your friend or a mother or a dad wants. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, are you happy yourself? So I feel like that's kind of being a wild woman all about. It's like you kind of unlearning everything you learned since you're growing up. Like, I'm turning 30 this year, so I'm trying to unlearn everything I've learned till I was 25 or something. Like, befriending the shadows as well,
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, that's definitely been my biggest journey, is like embracing my shadow side. I mean, for a long time, I had big anger issues, and
Hi,
I think
me
that
too.
I unfortunately, yeah, yeah, okay, cool. So another way we aligned, but that we're also trying to work through that, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny because I started therapy a couple years ago. I've since learned that I definitely have bipolar depression, and it made a lot of sense for some of the ways that I reacted, but the ways that I was also pushing that side of me down. And the more that we push that side down, the more it pops up in different ways that come out, and then other people get hurt. And that just keeps the cycle of hurt going. No matter what's happening or who it's happening with, that cycle of hurt just keeps going. So, in order to heal, and like you said, we're not always healing everything, we're always learning, we're always changing, we're always growing. There's never just, okay, I'm healed now.
Yeah.
We got to keep going and learning and moving. But I think that that's why I'm so focused on also wanting to accept and learn more about my shadow side, and like things that I would normally have thought of as really negative and shameful, and getting rid of that shame, because that's a huge portion of lightening the load of the darkness and the heaviness of the darkness too.
Yeah. I totally agree with everything you're saying. Like, yeah, I feel like, again, we're aligned again, but I'm just like coming back to the anger. So anger was and is a really big topic for me as well. Like, I feel a lot of anger. Like, if I feel angry, like I'm like red angry, and I'm trying to understand where it
Yeah.
stems from and what it's trying to say. And like another thing as well about being the good girl, right? We were being taught that you can't be sad, you can't be angry, you don't have any emotions. Like, you're just being a good girl, you're just being happy and smiling, and you're just being, smiling, nodding, and everything is fine. So to me, I feel like also like there's a big cultural thing as well. Like, come from Lithuania, I feel like we were being like suppressed for a lot of the time as a nation, of like no one was talking about emotions, and no one knows how to deal with them. So to me, a big part of like welcoming my shadows and like befriending my shadows was actually accepting that I'm really, really angry and understanding where it stems from. And it was a lot of work, a lot of tears, and I realized that my anger comes from feeling injustice. I just want to fight for like I just want to fight for equality and fight for what I feel like is right or wrong. Like, I just want to, like, that's why I'm so passionate about Medeina work. I just want to like show women what they're capable of and how they can actually blossom. And that anger was coming to me in so many ways that was just showing to like
Mhm.
my moral compass was like, no, 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 this is actually like repressing women. Like, how can we change that? How can we empower that? And it was really difficult to me being in the workplace because I feel like everything was just going wrong. Like a lot of, not just academia, but a lot of like 9 to 5 places, everything is just morally off. And my radar was like going full on
Yeah.
crazy. Like, no, 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 no. How can we change that? How can we change that? And I realized I couldn't. Like, I was going against big, big wall. And I thought, well, if I create something on my own, like of my own, then I can be the catalyst for change. So that's how
Right.
I feel like I went a little bit off topic here, but you know what I mean.
Nothing's ever off topic. I'm always going off topic then if we do it that way. So don't worry about it. But No, I honestly, I think it's actually on topic because I really love that focus on wanting to heal ourselves, and especially anger with women. I mean, I just feel like there is such a demonization of angry women. And I think that's why I always was drawn to goddess worship, but dark goddesses like Kali and the Morgan. My family's from Ireland, so I especially really resonate with the goddess Morgan, and she's kind of like my goddess that I go to if I need help with something and to get over things like hurdles that I need in my life. But yeah, that's why I like to say I'm spiritual, because I tie in
Yeah,
a lot of different mythologies. But going again back to the anger, is that and like being demonized, it's like not being able to have a place where it's okay to be angry, and then society is like coming at you and shaming you and
yeah,
demonizing you for your anger. And I think that, like, I really love this point that we're in, where there are people like you and like people wanting to have this like why like woman empowerment, because women are a force of nature. They are mothers. They're such a big part of our, I mean, obviously it's like a big part of our population. It's half and half, right?
yeah,
Men and women. But at the same time, I think that the people that have been like more repressed, the more that they claim themselves, and people that are claiming every single part of inside of them and their culture, and bringing that and sharing that with the world, like, they are healing. I love that quote, that it's like, we can't we want to change the world, but we have to start with ourselves. And I think
yeah,
that really works, because the more that we heal ourselves, people might think it's selfish rather, but it's actually selfless, because you're going to be breaking cycles and breaking changes. And
yeah,
I think that that's
exactly.
really important, especially for me as a mom, like, to break that with my son and not, have these anger issues continue to go on.
Yeah, yeah, really, really. I agree with that because it's really important. I feel like we're breaking generational traumas and we're breaking generational cycles. And it's really, really, really
Yeah,
important because, like, even if you, like, I feel like older generation wouldn't understand what me and you are doing because it's like, oh, it's just like, why would you talk about your feelings online? Well, that's how we heal. So I feel like it's really important to
right.
highlight that aspect that we're healing, we're doing the work, and it's like for the future generations, the world will be such a different place. Like, look how much more now we're talking about mental health, and that actually people struggle with mental health. Like, it's 10 years ago, if you would have told someone that you're having a bad mental health day, they would have laughed at you. And now we actually acknowledge that and
Right.
actually support that. So it's the same with, like, anger and like woman emotions. I feel like now, I mean, it's still problematic, but I feel like we're getting better at at
Right.
understanding that we like, if we're angry, we're angry, just deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this leads me into wanting to ask you, because you kind of do like help support women in this way, but like, I love the different offerings that you have. Like the one video that you had, from like fawning to I forget how you worded it, but like from fawning to like powerful woman, and then also like the untamed confidence. So maybe like go into maybe like how you came up with those, and like what your goal is with like helping women that want to do one of those with you.
So thank you for asking about that. So the Untamed Confidence is my newest offering. So it's 7 days on Telegram where we talk all things confidence, but deep level confidence. So nothing superficial, but like deep, like where it's coming from, and like how to get away from, how to break the good girl conditioning, and how to understand that the confidence is coming from within, and how we can just basically feel confident in what we do and what we say. And it's like the confidence of actually talking about your decisions. So I feel like quite a lot of women are struggling with saying no, and like always overdoing and like always doing so much more. And the untamed confidence offering is all about that. It's like, how do you like kind of understanding what the confidence means to you, because it's very personalized, and how to claim that, like how to do that. And basically what I like, my favorite, well, there's a lot of favorite elements in that offering, but one of my favorite ones is, so every day I will offer like a tiny rebellion, meaning that like say something to someone that you wanted to for so long, but you were scared of, like in a nice way. Like we're not causing fires here, but like in a nice way. Like, you know, if you don't want to go to an event or a party, or if you don't want to keep doing something, like, you know, how can you say no? Or if you want to like, quite a few women that I was talking with, they were saying that they're quite scared of sending the drink order back if they got a drink order wrong, because you just feel like, oh well, you know, why would you make someone like why would you inconvenience someone? And it's like, so like one of the challenges would be to just like, if your drink order is wrong, send it back, again in a nice way, but it just gives that confidence that like, you know,
Right.
I'm standing up for myself, I'm standing up for my needs and all of that. So it's just, yeah, it's a 7-day program, and we're just reclaiming everything.
I love that. And I love this aspect now that, you know, I think that there used to be this viewpoint. And I remember there was this book that came out years ago. I don't know if you ever read it or saw it. And it was like, Why Men Love Bitches. And
Yeah, I read that book.
basically, yeah, I guilty. I read it when I was younger. But, um, yeah, like I don't know. I feel like there's also like this kind of like you have to play games in order to win a man or something like that. But I think that what you're doing and what this whole focus on is like there's strength in being like vulnerable, and there's also strength in just being like firm but nice and setting like appropriate boundaries. Like you don't
Yeah,
have to go that far and be like a super bitch to get your way. Like you could just be firm and like you could still be kind and be firm. Like there is like this middle ground, I feel like,
yeah.
especially for us people pleasers, because I'm definitely the type of person that wouldn't send a drink back. But my husband, though, he helps me actually come into a place where it's like, no, you didn't like it. Like, just send it back. You know, like he
Balancing.
has no problem doing it.
We love that. We love that. We love a supportive partner. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
talking about that
yes, it's
book.
important.
Yeah, talking about that book. I mean, I hated that. Like, I read it a year ago, 2 years ago, and I didn't finish it because to me it was sending such a wrong message that I couldn't finish it.
Yeah,
Like, it was like, how can you teach someone to be so bitchy and like so bad? Like, what? Like, this is not like what? So I don't really understand
right.
why that book got so popular.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like this like fake facet of yourself you're trying to put out
Yeah.
there, and to put up this like weird gamey front to try to get a partner. And not the whole point, I think, to fall in love and to find a partner is to be vulnerable. And I think people find it very hard to be vulnerable. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
fair enough, though, because there's a lot of times where, I mean, like you know, before I found my husband, I had a very hard time dating and, like, you know, with men. And like there's all of these, you know, you meet a lot of like crappy men until you feel you find the right one. So it's like this really hard path, especially for women, that's like, you know. And I have single friends that it's very hard for them. And being able to be vulnerable or trying to find someone or online dating, and it's just like this weird, like, you know, I remember both of my friends, like they'll say to me like, yeah, I'm trying to online date and I'm really putting all of my effort into it, but I keep getting like sexual messages like from guys as like the very first thing that they say. So it makes it very hard to be vulnerable when like you
Yeah.
keep trying and like that's the type of response that you're getting back.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine how people still try to date online. Like credit, like kudos to them. I feel like it's really stressful now. I couldn't do it anymore. It's just
Yeah.
difficult. I feel like Yeah, it's just really difficult. And like speaking about vulnerability, I feel like also like being a wild woman is like embracing the vulnerability and not feeling sorry for it. Because again, the confidence as well. I feel confidence in my vulnerability and I'm confident in actually showing that and sharing that. And it's a huge thing. Like I'm still going through that because I was always like type A, like very high masculine when I was in school and university, like, I will do this, I will do that. And like I'm the only child, so my parents were raising me to be like strong, independent woman. And it's a good thing. Like I learned like a lot of good skills. But I feel like I went overboard and I was like doing everything and I was like, no, I don't need help. And oh, that's fine. Like, oh, my knee and back hurts. I don't need help. And it's just bad. Like, it's just really bad. So I actually, like, I'm trying to still learn to be soft and vulnerable. And with my new partner now, I'm learning to accept that it's okay to be soft. Like, I don't have to conquer the world 24/7. Like, I'm a woman, and one day I can, build a business plan and, I don't know, create a brand and a podcast and website. And then the next, I can just be in bed all day. And that's okay. And a lot of women struggle with that. So I just really want to emphasize that it's okay being vulnerable and it's our gift because women are more vulnerable than men, isn't it? So I feel like it's a really beautiful gift of being a woman and being soft and being vulnerable. I feel like it's beautiful.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And there's this, I think that we're so afraid of being hurt as well, but I think for women that are trying to get to that space, that there is such beauty in being vulnerable. And if you're vulnerable with someone and they hurt you, don't retract back, because that's the hardest part. Is and that's where like the healing slowly comes in. Is you were vulnerable, but that's a beautiful thing. And there is strength in being vulnerable. Just because someone wasn't able to reach those inner parts of themselves in order to match your vulnerability, or maybe like the alignment isn't connecting, that doesn't mean, don't take back your vulnerability. You can like, I don't know, it's very hard to be soft in a hard world, right? But just
Yeah.
still being able to be feminine and soft in that way is really important. And I know that like a big part of your story is like because you went from being like really dry, and now like that's one of like your biggest focuses now is
Yeah.
embracing this softer feminine side. So I know that sits well with you, right?
Yeah, it does. I feel like I want to like emphasize the fact that you can be a wild woman, like a wild, strong woman, but you can also be soft. Like I want to teach women that it's okay to be both. Like you can be both and you are both. Just embrace that. Like, it's okay. You're soft and you're strong and it's like the beautiful dance of that. And then it
Yeah.
enhances your personal relationships like with your partner because you just kind of embracing what being a woman is. And I feel like that's the key for it.
And I think that, I really relate to your story, and is very similar because my husband and I actually got together after being like best friends for 14 years
Oh
while we were in high
wow.
school. So like we've had a very, yeah, we had a very long history. So he kind of saw the whole song and dance of me dating other people and everything like that. But if you would have asked me like, 15 years ago when we like, or I don't know, however long it was when we first met, if we would have ever gotten together, I would have been like, no. But now he's my best friend and my soulmate. So but to digress to my point, but going back to like toxic femininity, there's this aspect that we have to, thank you, we have to like be really really strong, right? This is what I was thinking of. Okay,
Okay.
so when I was younger, I was very much obsessed with the warrior woman, and I love that aspect. But um I feel like focusing, and there was like, oh, even in like movies growing up too, it was like you were either this
Yeah.
really strong wild woman, or you were this super feminine, pink loving
Yeah.
girly girl, and there was no in between. But you can be both. You can like the warrior stuff and you can want to dress pretty and be in a dress. So there isn't like, and I love that this space, you know?
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like the whole toxic femininity thing, I feel like there's a lot of different sides online. Like when I started going into this divine feminine world, like before founding Medeina, like I feel like one part of the internet is talking about how you need to be like only in pink, like Barbie vibes, like all of those things. And then the other side is like you can be like only like a dark Lilith kind of vibe and everything. I feel like there's a lot of extremes, and I don't agree with that. I feel like there's
Yeah.
a nice balance between that. Like you should find balance between like one night you can be like a warrior woman and the next night you can be like a Barbie, and that's fine. But like I also like kind of related, kind of not. I like to look at everything through the nature perspective. So like if you look at wolves, for example, right? The wolf mother,
Yeah.
like the wolf woman, right? She knows when to be soft with her cubs, and she's very nurturing, very protective, and very soft, right? But then she can be really aggressive and really like powerful when there's danger to her cubs. So it's the same with women. Like we
Yeah.
can go between, like we can flick between being super like calm and inviting and nurturing, and then we can flick the switch and we can be a warrior woman. We can like conquer the world. We can, I don't know, create a business plan and whatever. And that's the duality of it. I feel like that's the beauty of it. And we need to find partners that celebrates that, because we don't want not supportive partner. We don't want that. That's so last year.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And that's why I love the wild woman and what she represents, because it's not one thing. We can be many things. We can be many facets. She has many faces. We don't have to be stuck being only a really pink girly girl or having to choose between like, dark badass warrior
Yeah.
vibes. We can be all of those things, and I love your connection, and which is why I think we relate so much to nature, especially like the mama bear, right? She's so soft and gentle with her cubs. The wolf is so gentle with her pups, but then absolutely fierce when it comes to protecting them, or when it comes to hunting and going out and and being as wild as possible, not worried about what others are thinking, because she's just worried about surviving, and we have it, we're in a really cool place as humans where we don't have to worry about like this, you know survival aspect, right? I mean, I guess in some ways, like, yes, or maybe some people probably do feel that, but we do have it like pretty easy in regards to that. We have like a step up from animals where we have this intelligence and this way of life that hopefully makes it a little bit easier for us. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like it's just embracing the duality of it, and just kind of also, again, part of what being a wild woman is accepting who you are and going with that. Again, leads back to confidence. Like if I want to be full on pink girl, and to me that's being my wild, yeah, go me. But as long as you're happy with being all pink, it's like not having labels. Like if I want to wear pink and if I want to wear all black, like let me be. But as long as it comes from within, and I feel like a lot of this also goes back to when you're kind of transitioning from going to like boxed in good girl to being the wild woman. My biggest advice would be to change the environment, because it has the biggest effect on who you are, how you behave, how you dress, like all of it. So I feel like that's kind of as well my biggest.
Hi, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. This episode is sponsored by my clothing brand, FemmeSauvage, and you can find a discount code and link in the description. So check it out. We have a lot of amazing designs, and $5 of the proceeds goes to different charities. So please feel free to check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks so much. I was just going to say that's a really good point, right? Is that you don't want to be surrounded in an environment, it kind of reminds me of like what we're going through right now with the environmental the Endangered Species Act, and that they want to change the term for habitat. But it kind of goes to your point that our environment shapes us. And
Yeah.
I was talking to another podcast guest. His name is Martin Gurdon, and he's been sober for at least like 5 years now. And that he said like changing his group of friends was really important to like people that, were sober and had a really good head on their shoulders and didn't need that aspect of life in order to enjoy it, and how that really helped him to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like the environment has the biggest effect on it, because if you're going through the phase of that, realizing that like your old self is crumbling and your new self hasn't sprouted yet, if you're gonna surround yourself with the old version of your like circle, then you're not gonna like get anywhere. Because like when I found the divine femininity, I was always curious about spirituality and life meaning. Like I was always curious about it. But when I started talking about the divine femininity and all the aspects of it, I started talking about this with like my close friends and like people at work, and no one was understanding me. And it's like I wasn't sure then. Well, if these are my new interests, and I'm like trying to understand who I am, if my environment is not accepting me, so who am I then? Like, do I try to blend and be like them, or what do I do? And then, wild woman in me won, but
Yeah, part of life, exactly. But I did want to ask you too about I love kind of like the symbology you use, and I think it goes back to your whole brand ethos of the Wild Medeina, is the phrase of using like hunting, but like in everyday life, like what you're hunting for, and like hunting for things that are powerful to you, and not necessarily in an actual like hunting way. So maybe you want to explain that a little bit more.
So I love the phrase of it. I feel like I can't even remember where I can't remember where I found the phrase, but it just like really was speaking to me. And when actually, I think I remember. I think when I was getting my human design reading done. Hi Becky, if you're watching. um, she was saying that like one of my human design numbers or whatever was saying that like I have some sort of primal. Like she will hate me for this now. I'm butchering the whole thing, but it was something about like hunting and gathering for your tribe. So like I have some sort of number thing for it, and it just clicked in me that like the hunting is like not in the sense of actually hunting, but it can be hunting for information or like hunting for the truth. And I love like nerding out about things. Like I love reading books. I love listening to like podcasts, movies, like books, like everything. And if I find information or if I find something that I feel like it's worth hunting and like grabbing and like bringing to my tribe, then I want to talk about this with my circle of women. I want to talk about it. I want to inspire them. I want to educate them about that. So I just love that. And to me, it's like going back to like caveman days and like hunting and gathering, and I feel like it's just a beautiful symbolism of like the old days and how it was. And also like Medina as well. She lives in a forest, so she's hunting, she's gathering all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that full circle kind of ethos there, and hunting for your passions and for things that fulfill you, and fill you up, right? That's what the whole purpose of hunting is and why I really loved that aspect, and like how you used it too, is like being able to hunt for things that we really love and enjoy, and trying to fill ourselves up with those, because that's what's going to heal us, is being able to know ourselves. And we can't heal ourselves unless we know things that are good for us, know our boundaries, know
Yeah.
what we don't want as well as what we do want. It's all really important.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. Again, we're going back to this whole shadow self. If we feel the if we feel something inside of us that something is off, and like you want to embrace the more true version to yourself, you kind of need to start asking yourself like what wants to come up, like who am I besides all of these boxes and labels and all of that stuff. And like changing and also a big thing as well for that is actually asking for help. And again, this ties with vulnerability. Like huge thing for me was like going through this journey is like learning to ask for help and admitting that I need help. And it ties with like being vulnerable. Like I didn't know how to ask for help. It's like, well, I was taught to be independent. Like, what do you mean independent woman asks for help? Apparently they do. And it's really nice.
Yeah, right. And being able to have that connection and that vulnerability to come to a place where it's like, okay, actually, I do need help. I'm actually working with someone right now, and they were like, that's one of the things you should focus on is asking for help. So that's been kind of like my assignment the last couple of days. And it just goes to show that we're obviously still always like working on ourselves and having that aspect, but like asking for help, I think is subconsciously very feminine and like being in this place of vulnerability. And I think that it was, I think especially throughout history, it's like feminine energy was like always, repressed and not viewed at in a way that like, men kind of like took advantage of it as like, oh, women are weak, or like we have to do everything for women. So
Yeah.
then there was this overabundance of independence, and like then okay, now women need to do everything. So I think we're coming full circle now to being like, okay, we can be independent, we can still ask for help, we can still be feminine, but at the same time we can still be strong and independent. So I think that life is all about balance, and I think that
Yeah.
that balance, especially for us as women, is super important.
Yeah, I feel like you've said it really, really well. Sorry. I feel like you said it really, really
No
well.
worries.
I feel like everything's all about balance and like finding your tribe and finding like your partner and your friends that will support that duality of you can be both, because it's just like that. How else can you function? Like if you're pretending someone that you're not, like how can you function? And one of the biggest things is like women are trying to do. They have like so many plates. They're spinning so many different plates, and they're dry and they're depleted. And like the one way to one way to get away from that is to like smash all the plates and like actually realize what's important to you. And I just feel like a lot of
Yeah.
like we're just being taught to ignore that. Like spin as many plates as you possibly can, and then be everything to everyone, and don't complain. It's like no, like it's not supposed to be like that. Like I mean, when I started voicing that in like my friends circles and work and everything, I was like the black sheep. And I was like, come on, it's 21st century. Can we actually, think about this?
Yeah, it's so funny. Me and my best friend, Caitlin, we always talk about how we're kind of like the black sheep, and I find that a lot of women that identify as being a wild woman also I identify with this concept of this archetype of the black sheep, right? Is that it's like this wholly different side that maybe people don't see, but that the wild woman feels and is like, oh yeah, no, this, whatever this is, like, I can't do this. Like, for example, me growing up, and I come from, like, I'm Italian, Irish, but my mom's side's Italian. So they're all focused on, only family and like, not saying that that's a bad thing, but the women of the family are solely focused on the children. And obviously
Family.
our generation, a lot of us are working now, but a big reason why I came up with this podcasting and my brand FemmeSauvage was because like I could not just be a stay-at-home mom. I needed some sort of an outlet. I am at heart a creative. Like, in order for me to feel full, I needed to have something else going on. I could not just be there was nothing fulfilling about staying at home and only doing that. And I think that also fulfilling myself serves him, because it's going to show him that you can follow your dreams and your passions, and I'm not going to have these negative lashes out at him because I'm not fulfilling something deep inside of me and I'm not shoving it down. I'm hopefully going to be a good example for him to be able to have hopefully a really good life, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you are a wonderful example to him. So yeah, give yourself some praise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important to. I think I was talking about this with my partner the other day, actually, that when the wild woman actually finds herself, then the relationships around her changes. And I'm talking specifically now about like romantic interest. So like if a woman is like working 9 to 5 and then like, cooking dinner, raising kids, I don't know, growing vegetables, like all of those, running a book club, like all of these things, and if she's not fulfilled in all of them, then she's gonna lash out. And like that's a normal thing because she's so dried up, she's so depressed, she's so all of those things. And if she would actually, ask for help, and someone would take something off of her, and she will have a little bit more time for herself, and she will actually kind of realize what is making her happy in all of these things that she's doing, like then everything else will change because she will have more space to breathe. And that's what's missing in this world. I feel like everyone is saying, like, everyone knows best what everyone else should do. And it shouldn't be like that. Like, if
Yeah.
I want to be a stay-at-home mom and that fulfills me fully, let me be. If someone wants to be like a, 5-figure or 7-figure, sorry, 7-figure businesswoman, and that's all she does, and she doesn't want kids, she doesn't want a partner, and if she's like full on happy, like radiating happiness from it, that's okay. Like, why are we not supporting that? Like, as long as the woman that she's doing that for her own, like, she's happy from within, it's fine. Like,
So,
it doesn't matter.
right.
And yeah, I just feel like so many people like put labels on that. Like, you should be listening, you should be no, like no, you can be all different aspects as long as they bring you joy. And like, I'm really happy that you found, like, you realize that in yourself, that you can't be just a stay-at-home mom. Like, you need that outlet, and it's like super, like you being a wild woman, like you're embracing that. So I feel like that's like I really want to send this message to anyone listening that it's okay to be all different aspects.
Yeah, and of course, like, I just want to say, like, if you are a stay-at-home mom, and like you said, if that is what brings you value, if that's like where your heart lies, like that's amazing. Because obviously, I'm still a stay-at-home mom. I love being a mom, but and I really appreciate your compliment there, because it is so hard to like compliment ourselves, right? And then
Yeah,
also to just be able to like live in our own truth, but like not judge others either for living in their own truth. If that's what fulfills you, that's what fulfills you. Like that's what your soul is calling you to do. And that's what's
yeah,
really important, is being able to recognize and feel your emotions so you know where and how to follow your path. Because that's how you're going to be happy in life. You're not going to be happy if you're just, okay, I'm just going to stay here and suppress myself and
yeah.
force myself into a job I don't like, or force myself into a relationship I don't like. You're not going to be happy or fulfilled, and you're going to feel stuck. And it's not going to feel good either.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I will quote my partner here because he actually was like, so when I was going through like the very peak of trying to figure out where my anger was coming from, he was actually saying to me that like if other people get triggered by what you do and what you say, just think about it like what they're going through. Because like if I'm giving myself permission to quit my job and pursue my passion, and they're lashing out at me, it's probably that they want to do something different but they're scared. So actually, if someone else is like saying, oh, why you not stay at home mom, or why you are working and being a mom, it's like, well, actually, it's not about your decision. It's actually about them and what they believe and what they grew up with and actually what they're hurting from. Because it's a very like cheesy
Mm.
line, like hurt people hurt people. But like it's so cheesy, but I feel like I live by it because
Sure.
happy, living in your purpose, being a wild woman, you're not gonna hurt anyone. You're not gonna lash out at the woman that's, just being happy doing all different things. You will support her. So if someone is like lashing out at you, it's not about you. It's 110% about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really love that sentiment, and I think it's so important too to be able to to recognize that you can have boundaries and not be mean about it. I think as like a struggling people pleaser, I get very hard with it's very hard for me to set boundaries and not think it's going to hurt someone's feelings. But if you're doing it in the right way, then it's not going to be mean or hurtful because you're just doing it in a way to be able to protect yourself and be like, hey, I can't do this right now. Or like, when you are okay with every aspect of yourself, you're not going to come from a place of lashing out. You're going to come from a place of setting that boundary first so you don't lash out. And that's actually really not mean because then when you lash out, then you are going to hurt somebody. So think of it that way too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like as long as you like the things I was talking about, the Untamed Confidence Telegram program, it's like the many challenges are there to allow yourself to just like to give yourself permission to say what you actually want to say, but no one is encouraging being mean. Like it's not about that. Like you can say, no, thank you, I don't want this, or like actually I think I'm gonna choose this instead of that. It's like the true wild woman is not lashing out at people. She's calm from within. She's very happy at her own pace, at her own she's like flowing through life. She's happy, she's sad, but like she's like she's like flowing. Like when I hear the phrase wild feminine woman or like divine feminine woman, I always imagine like this emotion, like this like wavy type thing. It's like she's just like, just going with the flow, like feeling it all out, but she's not hurting anyone on purpose. And that's the beauty of it. Like we're not, we don't want to hurt anyone.
I also feel like the wild woman is very unbothered. Like she could like and I feel like that's the goal to be so attainable. And I think even like doing this and like connecting with people and podcasting and also being in a space where I am being vulnerable and sharing deeper parts of myself, I think it has actually really helped me with coming to this place of being unbothered. And like, okay, maybe someone is saying a shitty comment. Me like years ago, that would probably destroy me and send me into like a downward spiral. But now I could be like, okay, well, they're listening. They have a valid point. Maybe I could work on things. And just use it to learn on and keep growing and going. And I think that that's like a really important aspect of the wild woman too, is just being kind of like unbothered, or like especially for women that are in relationships that aren't serving them, to be like, you know what, like you're not serving me, we're not connecting on this level anymore. I'm just gonna go.
But coming back to the point about the like negative comments, there's still comments. Like, thank you for the engagement. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Thank you for actually taking the time from your busy life to leave me a negative comment. It's a comment, thank you. But yeah, I feel like I keep saying that I agree with everything you say, but like I really genuinely do, and I feel like our brains actually align with each other, because I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I know I lost half my train went one direction, the other train went the other direction through this podcast. But that's the epitome of the wild woman, is, she's messy. Sometimes her thoughts and trains go in all these different directions. So yeah, but I really love how much of our brands really align, and I think that's why we get along so well, and why I really love what you do, and how, I don't know, like it's just a beautiful thing that like we can be supporting each other and powerful women, and we don't have to be tearing, or like, you don't have to tear other women down in order to stand up. Like there's enough room at the top for everybody. And I think that also what I really love about connecting with people and women is, is your individuality, and like your uniqueness is so important. There is literally no one else like you. And I think that when you come from that space too, you're not going to be jealous of other people, because you realize that like what you've been through in life, and like what you think and what you feel and your interests and
Yeah.
what calls to you, every single thing adds up to making you such a unique individual, and what you can give out into the world is going to be completely unique. And the more you focus on yourself and what you love, you bring to the table a uniqueness that like there will never be anybody else like you. And that's what I also love about like what you're doing too, is like empowering women and showcasing that.
Yeah. I love that. I really love that. I feel like my brain is not working anymore. I was like listening to you and thinking, oh my God, I want to say this, this, and the other, and then I just my mind completely blank. What we were talking about again?
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I was just saying how when like, talking about like uniqueness and individuality, and like the more that we focus on ourselves and our inner work, like you're not going to be jealous of other women,
Okay.
or like, jealous of other people. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I feel like embracing individuality as well, and everything kind of goes well, like everything goes together. I feel like in the patriarchal society we were taught to like, there's only one winner, and like everyone, like one wins and everyone else loses. And it's like you have to be the best. You have to be the best of the best, and there's no like questions. And like the women don't function that way. Like we need support, we need sisterhood, like, we need all of that. And
Yeah.
I feel like just trying to think what else to say. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm getting like really distracted now. I don't know why.
That's
Sorry.
okay. No worries.
So yeah, basically, I just feel like if we embrace the fact that we're unique, like everyone can, as you said, like, everyone can bring something else to the table, and that's what makes it beautiful, because like we're strong together. And in like a lot of workplaces, this is lacking. I feel like everyone has to compete, everyone has to be the best, and it's like, are we like as I said before, it's 21st century, it's 2025. Like, haven't we learned anything? Like, can we actually support each other? Because so
Yeah.
much more, like, I don't know, like, so much more support, so much more loving feeling comes from it. But like, I feel like we need to remember that.
Yeah. There's so much space, and like this is such a unique time where we can do things like have our own podcast, we can have our own brands, we can make things that are uniquely individual to ourselves, that would not have been created or birthed out into the world if we didn't know ourselves and have this want and being able to share it with the world. So I feel like there is really like a power in that. And like, there's always like those like movies that we would watch, I feel like when we were younger, where like I just like think about like some of the quotes from some of them. There's only winners, and then there's losers, or like, there was a lot of that, I feel like, in 90s movies and things like that. But it's not true. There's a lot of room at the top, and especially when you're creating something really unique that and you're trying to connect, and especially for us as women and feminine energy, it's really important to have that connection and that sisterhood.
Yeah, I feel like it is. And I think I can't remember now, but a while back, sorry, a while back actually, one of my friends asked me like, there's so many wild women coaches out there. Like, there's so many women coaches, women coach. Can't speak. There's so many wild women coaching opportunities and so many different kinds of coaching. And she was asking me, do I actually feel safe? Like, do I actually feel safe going into this different life, uh, different life stage? Because, will I actually find my tribe? And I was just like smiling and saying, yeah, because I feel in my heart that true, like I feel it truly in my heart that the wild women will find me, because each and one of us we have different frequency, and the right people will come, and you will find your tribe. Like, you will, as long as you shining your true light, that's not dialed down, and you're shining who you are, like you're being your wild, empowered, true woman, then your tribe will find you. Like it will. Like that's how life is, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I feel like that's a perfect place to cap this episode. I feel like that was such a beautiful sentiment, and I love that we can connect on the wild woman and how important and powerful she is, and that she is so multifaceted, and that, you know, whoever you are and like whatever your goals are in life, is like you can find there is a piece of you that is wild that you can connect with and bring out into the front and share that with the world. So tell people where they can find you, and maybe like what offerings that you have going on that people can look into if they're interested.
So I don't know if you have my links down below or not.
I will also have them down below, so don't worry.
So yeah, so my brand is The Wild Medeina. So you can find me on Instagram at The Wild Medeina, and then my website is thewildmedeina.com. So you can kind of see what's brewing up there. And so I'm launching my newsletter this week. Well, it will be live by the time this episode goes up. So I'm kind of sharing.
Yes.
I'm planning on sharing a lot of like a lot of different perspectives on, being wild woman, like, from relationships, from just existing being, all those sorts of things. And I always have one-on-one coaching spaces available, because I feel like when you connect with women on one-on-one basis, and when they want to be empowered, and they want to be like helped, but they don't really know what to do, I feel like this is where I come in. And then I love working with women one-on-one. I feel like it's just, again, as I mentioned before, about like with working with students, when you work with someone for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, you can see how much they change. So yeah, so my one-on-one coaching spaces are always available. They're on the website. And yeah, at the minute I just have a lot of things like in the works, but yeah, definitely more workshops are coming up, and more Telegram more Telegram offerings are coming, where it's like 1 week we tackle like one problem and we're like at it. And then yeah, just a lot of things a lot of things are in the work, and if they subscribe to my newsletter, they will know.
Lovely. I can't wait. I'm excited for your new newsletter too. And yeah, I'm so happy that you came on today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I love that we have connected, and we have so many similarities, and it's been such a joy connecting with you. And I love that like we can just be here and support each other. And also thank you for dealing with my son popping in and out.
That's okay.
I
That's
really
break the
appreciate
chaos. Like really, really thank you for having me. I love being here, and yeah, really, really thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Wild Ones, for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Flowing to the sea, I feel the energy of life force flowing all through